This is what I've learned over the last 5 years in marketing, and specifically marketing for home builders over the last 3. I'm gonna break down in this video everything that I know about how to turn a stranger and then generating a lead and turning that lead into a paying customer. I'm also gonna explain some of the things that I know about how to filter out tire kickers, how to make sure your cost per lead is as low as possible, and how to stay in front of people long enough so they actually want to do business with you. I'm also gonna give away a few freebies in here on how we do our marketing here at Home Builder Marketers. So let's jump right into it. So the best way that we have found to run ads and generate leads and turn strangers into buying customers is actually through Meta. We've tried Google. We've done a lot with Google, a lot with SEO, even Pinterest ads and LinkedIn ads and TikTok ads. We've done YouTube ads. We've done really everything under the sun. We've tried a lot of like old style marketing, like traditional marketing, as I should say, like radio. We've tried billboards, and out of all of them, by far the least cost per lead and the highest conversion rate has actually always been Meta. And I don't know if that's due to my background in Meta ads, as I started running Meta ads almost 7 years ago now at this point. A lot of things have changed since then, but Meta has been the best source of leads. And I'm gonna break down kind of how we run our Meta ads, and I'm gonna give that to you for free, and that's what you're gonna learn in this video. And it really comes down to 3 steps. And I got them right behind me here. Is the hook, build, and maximize. And this is the HBM method. You know, we're home builder marketers. This is gonna make your life a lot easier if you follow it. I hope this video makes a lot of sense. So let's dive right into it. So we have the hook, build, and maximize. We're gonna come back to this, okay? But I want to first show you how people buy from you. Okay, so this is a funnel, and I'm gonna go over the buying cycle of somebody that's buying a custom home, buying anything actually. So at the top here, this is where people become problem aware. I'm just gonna put a little PA there. The second step here, this is called the information gathering. And then the third step is comparing alternatives, CA. And then the last step is purchase decision. All right, so you're gonna find a few things in this. So this is, again, translatable to any type of business, even you as a custom home builder or a high-end remodeler. The further you go down, the more expensive. So the more expensive it gets. So when people are in the problem aware, this is when they haven't started their information gathering, they haven't started comparing alternatives, and they definitely haven't made a purchase decision. This right here is the cheapest time and the least expensive way to get in front of people, is when they're problem aware, but they haven't started here. And this right here is Meta. And then when they're in information gathering, it's a lot more expensive making that jump from problem aware to information gathering. And when they're in information gathering, this is when they're searching things on Google, like top home builders in my area, or, you know, how to hire a great home builder without getting scammed, like things like these. When they're interested in obviously working with a home builder, and they're just gathering information about, should I go with a fixed price builder? Should I go with a cost plus builder? When do I reach out to a drafter or a designer? Do I go with a design build firm? And they're just gathering information. Now, this is where most people actually put a lot of their effort, is in information gathering. Then there's also when people are comparing alternatives. So this is competitor advertising. This is where things get kind of a little bit dirty, when people are running Google ads on their competitors. You know, this is when people are now visiting threads where it's like, hey, this builder versus this builder. And a lot of people put a lot of money into this too, but this is a very expensive part to grab people because they're so close to purchase decision. Again, the closer they get to purchase decision, the more expensive it gets. So let me explain to you why problem aware is the best way to go. Because if you capture people when they're problem aware, before they've gone into information gathering, before they've, you know, got closer to purchase decision, you're catching people very early in their process. And if you can capture people early in the process and position yourself as their guide, their trustworthy guide, and give them no reason to go anywhere but you for information and for competitor, when they're looking to compare you to alternatives, then they have no need to reach out to competitors. They have no need to look for other information. So if you capture them in problem aware through meta ads, and through a follow-up system, a structured follow-up system, and a good sales process, you will then be able to nurture them right through all of these other sections right into purchase decision. Yes, your closing ratio might not be the highest as if you spend, $10,000 and capture people that are in this section. But if you play it right, and if you have the proper processes and you capture, say, 100 people in the top here for $20 a lead, what does that work out to be? Maybe $2,000? And you nurture those 100 people and you can nurture them all the way to purchase decision. Out of those 100 people, you're a lot more likely to get builds out of that than if you spend that $2,000 on people here. So that's kind of the motto, or that's the reasoning behind why we run all of our ads through Meta. And now a lot of builders in particular have ran ads through Meta in the past. They get tire kickers, they get people wanting to build 3 years out. They get people inquiring with them to like change a window or like install a new door, or, repair some drywall. There are ways to filter those people out. And I'm going to kind of break that down right now. So now that we've kind of highlighted why we use Meta, let's go into our process. Okay, so the hook, build, maximize method. Now, let me explain the hook. The hook is the video. If you have a proper video, okay, let me back up a little bit. So something that we follow in our company is story brand. This is a framework built out by a guy named Donald Miller. Highly, highly recommend you read his book, Story Brand. He just came out recently with Story Brand 2.0. And what this does is this, again, I mentioned this earlier, you want to frame yourself as the guide within the story. A lot of builders get this wrong, where they make themselves the main character in the story. You go on their website and it's all like, look at how great I am. I have all these awards. I'm the best builder. Look at me, blah, blah, blah. The homeowner doesn't care. They're on your website and they're looking into you to see how you can add value to them, right? And so if you're talking about you and you're not talking about how you can help them, they're gonna leave your website and go to somebody else's. That's just fact. That's what we've found. So that also translates to your video. In your video, you need to position yourself as the guide. You need to be trustworthy. You need to build empathy in their eyes, or in their ears, I guess, in this case, because they're gonna be listening to your video. So you want empathy. How do you build empathy? You need to disarm their fears. You need to tell them what they're thinking already. Like a great hook would be like, building your dream home does not need to be a second job. Because a lot of people, when they want to build their home, they've heard from Susie down the street who built her home that, I had to put 10 hours a week into building our home. It was so stressful. We had all these things go wrong and, it turned into a complete mess. Well, you disarm their fears, you build empathy. Or another one could be, building your home doesn't need to go over budget, or building your home shouldn't take, 24 months. Because what you're going to do is you're going to reverse engineer what they're thinking in their head, what stops them from reaching out to you, the subconscious thing in the back of their head that they're like, oh, I'm scared of budget overrun. I'm scared of, the timeline being missed. I'm scared of having a second job with building this home. And you can disarm those fears in your hook, in your video. You're now building kind of subconscious trust in their head, and you're framing yourself as that guide. So you build empathy. The second thing is you want to have a person in a video. You don't want to be a faceless brand. Nobody trusts a faceless brand. So what we recommend is you get the owner of the company or somebody trustworthy in the company on an active job site in branded apparel. You got your logo. Maybe it's a shirt and you got a hat and you're standing in front of a build that's active, okay? And you're disarming their fears. This video should be 30 to 60 seconds. And I'm gonna give you, you're gonna see in the description of this video, there's actually what we call the Home Builder Toolkit. I put together all the knowledge that I have about running ads, A to Z, and I'm giving it to you completely for free. So if you're interested in kind of following along, I recommend go download it, and then you're gonna get all the video scripts and the framework on how we do all this. So you build empathy. Second thing is you want a killer video of a real person. All right. Now, if you're building empathy, you have a good script and your video looks good, it still instills trust. It's a real person, disarming fears again. Okay. Now we need to get that video in front of the right people. And there's so many more things that go into this. You need a good CTA, which is a call to action. You need to say the right things in the middle of the video. You need to build trust, frame yourself as a trustworthy guide, not somebody that's, hey, I'm a home builder. I understand your fears, but yeah, I started yesterday and I got a truck, so I'm ready to build. No, people don't trust that. The other thing too, I guess with the video before we move on to the build stage, is you're not selling the home, you're selling the appointment. Nobody's buying a custom home or a high-end remodel through a Facebook ad. It doesn't happen. You need to sell the appointment. You need to sell the first touch point, because if you can sell that, okay, it's a lot easier of a sell to sell the appointment than it is to try and sell $1 million, $2 million custom home or a $500,000 remodel, if you kind of get the gist. So yeah, a good video, and you know, in that toolkit that's in the description, I also break down, there's a few other types of ads that you want to run. You still want to run a static image, and you still want to run a carousel, and even a lead magnet type of ad that brings people in, but you want to sell the appointment. That's the number one thing. Okay, second, you have the right creatives. You have built the empathy. You have a killer video. They watch it, they're interested, okay? But you need to get this video in front of the right people. If you're sending people to an outdated website, you're wasting money. People don't run traffic ads anymore for high-end services. It doesn't work like it used to. You know, if you asked me the same question 3 years ago, I would have said, send them to a landing page that's, you know, built to convert. Now, Facebook, Meta, has something called instant forms, and instant forms is the best way to build your campaign out, because this is easy for the prospect to fill out. They click on it, they like your video, they click on it, and a form pops up on either Instagram or Facebook, wherever they're watching. And you can add good qualifying questions into this form. And like questions like, what's your timeline? What's your budget? What are you actually interested in? And you can add what's called conditional logic. I'm kind of nerding out a little bit here, but you can add conditional logic. And in that conditional logic, you can actually disqualify people that answer your questions wrong. So for instance, in our form, we have on our Facebook ads, do you make over $1.5 million? Yes or no? And if they click no, the form shuts in their face and says, hey, sorry, we find the builders we work with are in this range. But if they click yes, it goes on to the next question. Another example would be for one of the builders we have in Florida. If they say that their timeline is 12 months plus, the form shuts in their face and says, hey, sorry, we don't book out that far. And we find the people that we want to work with are between this range. They're wanting to build in the next 9 months. So yeah, these are just some examples. And you can think of your own question that qualifies people, but that conditional logic is a very important part to filtering out tire kickers, filtering out people that are not qualified. So, okay, you run instant forms, you qualify them with good questions. Instant forms. Awesome. Okay, next thing, you want to get it in front of the right people. You know, you have the right form, but you know, you're hitting a bunch of 18-year-old kids that can't afford to buy a car, let alone a custom home from you. Yeah, that's kind of an issue in itself. You could have the best video in the world, you're not going to convert anybody. We run you through an exercise in that toolkit that I mentioned, where it's called a customer persona exercise. And if you went to business school, you probably heard of this. If you didn't, no worries at all. What this is this helps you identify your ideal customer. And then say, okay, so let's go a little bit more in depth on that. So you figure out your ideal customer. Okay, my ideal customer is Bob. He's tired, been married for 40 years. He's 67 years old or 63 years old, let's say. You know, he's retired. He worked in the government for, you know, the last 40 years. He's got a great pension and he wants to build his dream home so his grandkids can come and visit him. You know, he's interested in hunting and he's interested in NASCAR. Awesome. Okay, great. Now we can take that information, reverse engineer it, and try and find a bunch of Bobs, right? And so that kind of comes down to the building the campaign out in the right structure, because that ties into your targeting. And how you're going to get in front of the right people is through reverse engineering their interests. And we run typically 3 ad sets, and you're going to see this again in that toolkit, where it gives you the step-by-step on this, completely free. You have 3 ad sets, one that's completely broad, one that's reverse engineered your customer personas, and then a third one, which is kind of a wild card, where you can just try some new stuff on this. And what Facebook will do is they'll allocate your budget evenly to each one, and whichever one's having the greatest success, the lowest cost per lead, the highest conversion rate, it will then allocate more budget to that one. So yeah, you run those 3 ad sets, and Facebook will then figure out, okay, this one's getting the most leads for them, I'm gonna put more budget into there. All right, the other thing is budget. You can't spend too little. You could have the best video in the world, getting it in front of the right people in the world, but if you don't have enough money to fuel the engine, which is known as Facebook, I mean, you're not going to get many results because you're just not showing it to enough people. This is a numbers game. And so if your budget is $5 a day, you're not going to have the best success. Highly recommend that you, I created actually a tool, or a calculator that helps you reverse engineer what you want for builds and what you want for results, and that'll spit out a daily amount of ad spend that you should be spending a day. This is a real benchmarks that we did a lot of research to come up with. I highly recommend you use that. You can go through that and it will literally, it's on Google Sheets. It's just a bunch of calculations and formulas. You put in how I want this many builds, this many appointments per close, this many leads per appointment, blah, 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 and it will spit out how much you should put into ad spend on a daily basis, okay? So figure out your budget. When you have these things figured out, this is all great, but now you need to maximize on the leads that are actually generated. You have have the right video, you get that video in front of the right people with the right budget. But if you phone them once and then you drop off the face of the earth, it's all wasted. This is where most builders mess up, is they don't maximize on the leads that they get. You need to follow up the leads and you need to engage them quickly. Okay, here's a statistic. This is on HubSpot's website. If you're familiar with HubSpot, one of the most highest end CRMs in the world. They published a blog that if you don't engage the lead within the first 5 minutes of them being generated, your chance of getting the deal drop off by more than 490%. Okay, that is a significant amount. You should be dropping everything to get in touch with the leads the minute that they come in, or you should use automation, which is what I'm going to go over. So we find that on average, it takes about 15 touch points to turn a cold lead into a qualified booked appointment. And those 15 touch points need to be creative, they need to be systematized, and they need to be executed properly. But I'm looking for a specific word, strategic. They need to be strategic, okay? They can't all just be emails. Hey, limited spots filling up next year, you know, book while you can. That type of stuff does not work. You need to position yourself as the guide. I'm gonna say it over and over again. Okay, so maximize. Engage within 5 minutes. You need to engage leads. This can be done with automation. If you don't know what automation is, that is a whole separate thing. You need to, okay, I'm going to tie back into that toolkit that I told you. In there, we give away a free Go High Level account. Go High Level is a CRM. In that free account we give you, it's preloaded with automations that will help you engage your leads within 5 minutes. Not only will it help you engage the leads within 5 minutes, but it will also keep you in front of the leads for 365 days. We call it the 365-day follow-up system because it keeps you in front of the leads for a year. You're getting way more than 15 touch points in there. But sometimes you generate the lead and they're not ready to roll until 8 months down the line. And if you can be adding value to them for 8 months, staying in front of them and being top of mind, when they're finally ready to pull the trigger on a builder to hire, you're gonna be the first person they think of because you stayed in front of them and you added value. So you engage them within 5 minutes, you stay in front of them. You need to phone them as well because our follow-up system only takes care of email and text, okay? You need to also phone them. But what we've done in this follow-up system is we engage, or what we find works is we engage them twice within 5 minutes. This is where it gets really complicated. Well, not really complicated. This is where the magic happens. So they come in as a lead, okay? 3 minutes after they come in as a lead, they get an email. This email sounds like it's coming from the owner of the company. It says, "Hey, John, this is Susie with XYZ Builders. I just saw that you inquired with us. Looks like you're interested in building a home and this is your budget. I wanted to reach out and find a time that we could meet and go over your build. Let me know when works for you. Really looking forward to hearing from you." Okay. This email with that little bit, that 3-minute time delay means everything. It makes it feel more human. And when it sounds like it's coming from the owner of the company, it feels even more human than that. Okay. So then after 2 minutes, after that email is sent, they get a text message. "Hey, John, it's Susie here with XYZ Builders. I just sent you over an email. Let me know if you got that and if you have any questions." So first 5 minutes, 2 touch points. All right. You could actually do really bad with the video, really bad with the campaign structure, but you generate some leads. If you have the first 5 minutes and the 2 touch points in the first 5 minutes, this is like really the secret sauce to all of this because no builder is doing this. It's really sad. And this little bit time delay in here that engages the leads, makes it feel human, builds personality behind your brand. This is the only, if you take one thing from this video, it's this. Engage them twice within 5 minutes through automation, 1 text, 1 email, make it sound human, have time delays. Because if it came through instantaneously, right after they submit the form, instantly they get a text, instantly they get an email, feels like automation, it's not human, doesn't feel authentic. So that is literally the hook, build, maximize method on how you can take a complete stranger, turn them into a customer for you. This is like simplified. This is what we've learned over the last, 3 years working with over 160 builders. We build this framework out for builders, and this adds on average 2 to 3 builds to their repertoire or to their business every single year on average. We have a guy, but he started with us 12 months ago and he generated more than 6 builds. I think it's 6 builds or so. Might even be more than that now. More than 6 builds this year just from this method. He had no business really before this. It was all word of mouth. He had no marketing before this. It was all word of mouth. We just implemented this and it was like pouring gas on the fire for him. Like, this stuff really works. So if you want access to all of this, again, it's in the description. Go click on it, get access to it. It's completely for free. If you want us to implement this for you, this is something that we also do, because there's a lot more that goes into the marketing for builders. You need to have a sweet website that's mobile optimized. It's also very important, again, to capture those people that are, in those other stages, the middle stage. and the second stage, like the information gathering stage, and then the evaluating alternative stage, it's still great to capture people in those. Don't just forget about them, but focus on the number one. Focus on the problem aware stage. That's where it's the cheapest. But SEO, Google Ads, you're gonna capture people in those other two stages. It's a lot more expensive and it takes time to work, but still worth it. And I'm gonna have a whole nother video just on how you should build out your website as a home builder, because I don't even know how many websites we've built in the last 3 or 4 years, but there's been a lot. We've learned, we've grown, we've split tested, we've figured out how the structure of a website should work. So make sure you subscribe so that that video gets promoted to you when we post it. Here at Home Builder Marketers, we're on a mission to help 10,000 home builders reach more than 10 custom homes sold per year. So if you align with that vision, make sure you subscribe so that future content like this gets promoted to you. And I really hope that you got some value from this. If you have any questions for me, or you want to learn how we can help you, visit our website, homebuildermarketers.com. or you can message us on Instagram or Facebook or LinkedIn at Home Builder Marketers. Thanks for watching.